You're listening to WRPR Mawa.
Now that's a face for radio.
You are now listening to Beasts of the East with Ryan Morick, Scott Thompson, and Dean Roventini on WRPR 90.3 FM.
Thank you. Far too kind.
Hello, fans of all ages. We are indeed the Beasts of the East. Ryan Morick, Scott Thompson, Dean Roventini here with you on this Wednesday, October 5th, 2016. Wildcard Wednesday. Mets Giants in action tonight. Winner takes on the Chicago Cubs in Chicago. But first, we got to talk about the New York Giants, and we got to talk about Odell Beckham Jr. because we did not get a chance to do that yesterday because we were not in here. So, Giants lost their second in a row against a very good Minnesota team. Honestly, we saw how good Minnesota was, and looking at that game, watching that game, you can't really blame the Giants. I don't think the Giants played necessarily a bad game, just Minnesota's D is very, very, very good. But the big story that came out of Monday night was Odell Beckham Jr. Obviously, going a little over the top once again. And now yesterday, quotes coming out saying that he's no longer having fun. And what's funny is that I looked at all the stats yesterday. And Odell's first 27 games of his career, he had 25 touchdowns. And the Giants went 11-16 in those 27 games. Odell does not have a touchdown yet this season. The Giants are 2-2. So the Giants have a lot smaller of a sample size, but they are playing better in these 4 games with Odell Beckham Jr. not scoring. And they were 5 games under 500 with Odell Beckham Jr. scoring. That's not anything about Odell per se. That's just the fact that it's showing that Odell Beckham Jr. is really becoming all about himself if he wasn't already.
I don't think so, though. No, to be completely honest, the media is harping on this guy way too much. I said it the other day after the game. I was heated because he wasn't getting the ball. He was throwing temper tantrums, yeah. But when you look at the bigger picture, the media is acting like this isn't the first guy to do this. And I get that it is Odell Beckham Jr. I get that he is a 23-year-old star who should be acting like, the president when he speaks to people and everything else. This is a football player, plain and simple. And I can understand his frustration completely. You just talked about that. He was thrown to 24/7 in these past 2 years. And now because the Giants have other assets, obviously the ball's going to go somewhere else. Does he need to check himself? Yes. But the fact that the media and even us here harp on him so much, I don't like it per se. I back him 120% because he needs to be on this team, but I don't know. Just right now, I can't really wrap my head around where his mindset is at, where the team's mindset's at.
You can see, what I'm taking from all this, it is upsetting because the whole media is trying to make him look like a little kid who is just crying.
That's the thing with me.
I don't think it's the media trying to
make
him a
punk.
little kid.
He's a crybaby. He's this. He's that.
Has Odell done anything on the field to show that he's not one?
On the field?
On the field, his actions.
What has he done?
You tell me. What did he do on Monday? What did he do against last week? What did he do against Josh Norman? He's been crying for the last 3 weeks.
He's been crying the past two weeks because they've been losing. And he's a guy who
is it because they're losing?
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt, he's not getting the ball.
He wasn't getting the ball the first 2 games either.
Okay, but then you just said he's not getting the ball. So which one is it?
No, here's the thing. This is his mindset. I mean, obviously I'm not Odell Beckham here, but this is what he's thinking. He wants to win. Winning's his thing. Even I don't care what anyone says. He wants to win.
Right.
In his mind is, I'm not getting enough targets and we're losing. If I got more targets, we'd win. I can make them.
But the stats show that with Odell's 25 touchdowns, they were a worse team.
Don't go on stats like that. They were a worse team because they didn't have other people around them.
I agree with that 100%.
They had a worse
So then don't bring it up. don't bring it up. No,
But Odell is saying he said he's not having fun anymore.
because
That's because of mainly the refs, how they have a
He
spotlight
said,
on him.
"I'm not having fun anymore." It's not a coincidence that the guy says that when his targets are limited, but they're playing better.
I don't think it has to do anything with that, though. I think it has to do with the refs, the media, how everyone
That's
is
the-
waiting
that's the
for
fun
him
part.
to
Yeah,
mess
that's
up
what he's
again,
talking
and
about.
how everyone is judging.
But he keeps messing up again. Does he not?
But he's not. To me, Monday wasn't. Yeah, he had
Messed up
his
in
little
how?
burst, but what happened after that? Nothing.
Yeah,
Nothing.
because someone finally said something to him, and he realized that one more personal foul would have gotten him ejected, and he could have gotten a personal foul on the next play anyway.
I just think everyone's on him too much. I think that's why he's saying I'm not having fun anymore, because these past 2 years, obviously he's had the spotlight, but he's been getting the ball. Refs haven't had to worry about him. And since the whole Josh Norman thing, he even said, what happened with Josh Norman tarnished me. It tarnished me because now refs are constantly focusing on Odell Beckham Jr.
When he got that foul, it was he caught the ball, he got a late, he was hit late, out of bounds, went over, complained, bumped into the ref,
That's the only
which
reason
it
he got a
wasn't
foul.
like a real bump. It was a walking like, okay, I bumped into, got a flag. He's complaining.
But he got a flag for taunting.
How is he taunting?
I agree with that.
Because he ran back to Rhodes.
Because he hit him
That's-
late.
that's the
I
thing.
thought
Because
the
he hit him
flag-
late, and they
I thought the flag was to make contact with the official, and then they said it was taunting.
Oh, I thought it was hitting the
No,
official.
the flag was
They
for
said that?
taunting. Yes.
This is why he's upset. This is why he's frustrated, is because no matter what he does, and it's true. You can watch these past 2 weeks. No matter what he does, the refs are on him first, plain and simple.
And going back to that,
Josh Norman picked him up in the end zone. There was no flag. He picked him up, walked him over to the ref, and there was no flag. But the minute he will step and go in Josh Norman's face, there'll be a flag. Where does it make sense?
yeah, he is targeted, but that play that I was just talking about before, I hated how Ben McAdoo kept him on the field. After that, we were talking about that.
Yeah.
Why isn't he off for not the whole? You don't have to bring him off the whole drive. You bring him off the field. You tell him, what are you doing? You're one more away to be out in this game, and you realign him.
The rule happened because of him.
Yeah,
It's the Odell Beckham Jr. rule. I get what you're saying. Excuse me. I understand that the media and us, it plays a much bigger part in it. But the fact that he knows that the media said it. Odell said if he sneezes the wrong way, it's going to be a flag. First of all, he brought that on himself.
There's no doubt in that. No doubt in that whatsoever.
Okay, so why is he saying that then? Why is he acting like? Oh, I mean, I get it. He's all that. He's probably the most talented receiver in the league. Maybe not the best receiver, but when it comes to skill set, he might be the best one. Why is he saying it though if he knows it's on him? Unless if he has no idea he brought it upon himself.
Have you ever heard of forgive and forget? The one Josh Norman incident, is the only reason why these refs are doing it. Because they think he's going to burst out again. It's not going to happen again like that. Unless you keep on doing this and he's just going to explode. It happened one time, but you can't keep focusing on him. I get that he has these things.
It was a late hit, but it wasn't 5 yards. He was out of bounds by 1.5 yards, and he got hit. And then he went ballistic.
It's still the fact. Xavier Rhodes dove at his legs out of bounds as he was just slowing up. That could ruin your entire season.
Okay, it could, but why doesn't he just understand the fact that he needs to take it down a couple notches?
it's not him.
That's not him.
It's not him.
Not
He's
at all.
He's a huge person.
Then that's going to hurt him. He's going to become the next Jeremy Shockey.
No,
He
he's
is. Yeah, Scott.
I was
Scott,
comparing
he
him to
is.
T.O. He's more of a T.O. guy.
So they're finally going to get sick of him eventually. The Cowboys dealt with Terrell Owens for a long time because he's one of the best receivers ever, and then they finally got sick of him. And the Giants did that with Jeremy Shockey. Shockey kept crying and crying and crying on the sidelines, and then they couldn't take it anymore. So when Shockey became a free agent, that's when the Giants said, you know what, we've had it. We got to let you go. Luckily, they had Kevin Boss for a couple of years after, and he played very well, especially in Super Bowl 42, but there's a good shot of that happening. Everyone that we know is saying the Giants are going to sign him to a long-year deal. Why? Because he brings it upon himself.
He's going to get signed. He's going to
I'd
stay with the
sign him.
team.
I'd
Is
sign
he?
him.
Without a doubt. I honestly changed my mind. I said he might get traded. He might leave after his rookie contract. You can't give him away like that.
The Giants are not going to trade.
He's 23 years old.
I wouldn't trade him. Like
And-
you said,
and
They
I
should not trade.
he's the
him.
most
No, that I
skilled
agree.
wide receiver in this league.
Yeah.
How do you
And-
get rid of that?
And I get it. He's 23 years old. He should know that he's a pro. But what has happened to him in these past few years? All of this stuff that has gone on, you try going through that. That's what I was trying to say to myself. Try stepping in his shoes where literally you make your left foot go before your right, it gets criticized. Try doing that every single day. And obviously he can't deal with that. Maybe he needs help outside of coaches and his teammates as well. But he can improve. And I think he will. It'll take time. But like Dean said, because they're losing two on top of it and he's not being utilized the way he is because he's a true competitor, he goes 115% every time, I think that's why he's saying, I'm not having fun anymore.
But you say they're losing. They're not 0-4. They're 2-2.
But that's what we're saying, though. When has been the big thing these past 2 weeks?
And they're barely 2-2.
Right. But they're 2-2. If you win, that's all that counts. It doesn't matter.
It could be 1-3
get
right
that.
now.
I mean,
Sorry. Week 1 they
and the
lost.
thing is, again, the media does play a big part in it. But I'm sorry, when the 13-year veteran franchise quarterback who has won 2 Super Bowls and your head coach and your GM are saying something to the media, that's when you got to step up. Jerry Reese said something to Odell Beckham Jr. after the game. How often do you see a general manager say something to a player? Not often. McAdoo is saying it in the media. Eli is going on Francesa every Monday saying that Odell is a distraction. When the big time guys, when Eli Manning says something on the air, Eli does not do that. He never did that under Coughlin. Coughlin wasn't like that. I felt like Coughlin did not openly criticize his players a lot. I feel like times have changed now. And times need to change with Odell Beckham Jr. too.
I'm telling you, he's going to get it. He's going to understand exactly what he's doing because, like we said, professional is before athlete in your job title. You need to have that mental ability. And like we said, if the Giants decide to, let's just say the Giants decide to say, no, we don't want you anymore. Not going to happen, but we don't want you anymore. It's gonna hurt him a little bit when he's interviewing to get on these other teams.
I can't see that, though.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's not going to happen. But again, it is an option. Like you said with Terrell Owens, ever since he came in, he's just been a distraction. He's been a diva. I mean, he is the diva. You can't really compare Odell to him yet, but give him time. Just the spotlight needs to come off him for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Just for 2 seconds.
But when will it?
It won't. It won't.
It's
But
not necessarily if the spotlight's on him or not. It's how he handles it. He's got to handle it better.
He hasn't handled it well 3 weeks in a row now. And
He's still a young guy, man. He is
It's
so
only
young.
because everyone's judging what he's thinking,
Here's
what
the
he's
thing,
doing.
though. Was I talking to you about it, or was I talking to you? I can't remember.
I hope it was me.
But he's young. I get it. And in every sport, you'll see the young guy say something to whatever. But how young is 23?
You were
How
telling,
young
they
is
were telling me
24?
this, yes.
How, that's not all that young. You know by the time you're 12 years old who to respect.
Yeah.
But when you're not getting it back, that's the thing. The media is so quick to jump on the one thing he does wrong, but even when he has a 10-catch, 115-yard game with a touchdown, there's still something that happened with him. Today's media waits and loves for when people mess up. Plain and simple. And Odell Beckham Jr. has been your, next to Josh Gordon and Johnny Manziel, your prime case in the NFL. Ever since that Josh Norman thing, they are waiting. So any little sort of incident that happens, they're going to jump on it. And it's hard to say, but we'll see what happens.
201-825-1234 is the number. That's 201-825-1234. I do like how you said that. We all hope that he gets it because he's only hurting himself at this point.
I'm being optimistic.
No.
But
Be a Giant fan.
But that's it. But the play after he got called for taunting, Rhodes hit him again. It was a little bit of it was both of them going at it, and Odell walked away. Rhodes went in his face. That was a good sign because if Odell said one word, literally one word, because that's to the point where it got up to at that point. if Odell said one word to Rhodes, Odell would have gotten a personal foul and been ejected from the game.
That's what I'm saying.
That was a good sign for me.
Well, you saw what you guys probably got the ESPN update today too. Ed Waters said that officials are now told to look at what they're saying to Odell Beckham Jr., how the cornerbacks are saying to him, because obviously Rhodes was saying something every single time.
I got that too, and we can argue about this too. How is that going to be handled? Are they going to throw a flag for a corner trying to get in his head? You can't do that. That's football.
I don't like how they keep saying this. Like, they keep saying stuff about guys between, like, corners and Odell. Like, why is this not like a league-wide thing? You know what I mean?
This
like,
is my thing. You make a rule after him. First of all, debatable, but
happens.
Which doesn't really, hurt the league. But when you say, yeah, Odell's coming, make sure you watch him and the guy next to him. Why? I get it. Play football. Trash talking is part of this game, if not the biggest in any sport in America. But let the guys go back and forth. But at the same time, Odell needs to realize that, like
he needs to be deaf.
Like he did, you just look back and you walk over to the huddle.
He also did try to smoke Rhodes on that play, but I didn't mention that. But
corners,
that was both of them.
Corners covering him have an advantage before the start of the game.
Agreed, 100%.
And it's nonsense. It shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't happen.
It's not even from their standpoint or where his mindset's at. It's from what the refs are doing.
No, no, it's not. It's because of his mindset. We could go on the field, say one thing that bothers him, and then he's automatically if you want to call him that, he's automatically a liability. Any one of us in this room, us three on the show, and we have a bunch of people watching live in the studio.
Today.
We got the crowd today. Any 7 of us could say one thing to Odell that he takes offense to, and then we automatically knock him out of the game, at least for that play. So it doesn't have to do with whatever you say. It's all about his mindset. Corners have the advantage on him, and that shouldn't be that way. Because Odell has the physical advantage everyone he goes up against. Every single person who goes up against, he has the physical advantage. And then he automatically gets that taken away. Why? Because he is so vulnerable.
So here's my solution. In Green Bay, Sunday Night Football, at Lambeau Field, if Eli Manning doesn't give him at least 5 targets in the first quarter, there's going to be an issue. You need to feed him to get him out of this. You need him to realize that he is still the number 1 option. Bobby Rainey was your number 1 option on Monday night. That should never happen.
We'll talk about that too.
But he needs to have a big game in Week 5. Needs to have a big game. Eli needs to look at him.
You said that on Monday too, before the game.
And what happened? 3 catches. That's his worst ever.
But it's not
simple.
It's not a sense of like, okay, you get him these catches, so he's okay. If he doesn't get those catches in the 4th, if it's a tight game, he's going to be upset again.
No, I know. I'm not saying like that. I feel like it's almost like you're feeding a baby, yeah, you'll get ice cream later, like one of those things. But no, in this sense, he knows as well as the team knows that he's your best option on offense. So why isn't he used? We could talk about Eli Manning later if you want, because I have a lot to say about him too.
We're gonna analyze the game before we get to the wild card.
But he needs the ball to be thrown to him to start. No first quarter targets, I believe, right?
I don't think so.
So
he had 9 during the game and 3 catches. And your number 1 should have at least 15 or 16. And I agree with that, and we'll talk about that later. But my thing is, let's say he does get 9 targets a game. Let's say he gets 8 targets even, and they win. I hope that he's celebrating the win.
It's a different story, though. Did you see it happen in the first 2 weeks that he was complaining and crying, all this stuff? No. If they're winning, he's fine. That's what Dean was talking about. He is a winner.
Before we go to break, let's go to the phone lines really quickly. Who's this and where you're calling from?
Well, I'm calling. Hey, John Caputo. I'm calling from Montvale, guys. I've been listening to you guys. I'm agreeing with Scott. I'm just going to say one player, Dez Bryant. There's nobody nastier than him, and he's never been singled out the way Odell is being singled out over these last 2 games. And I don't know what's causing it, why he's being singled out more and being scrutinized and put under a spotlight. and he's done as much, if not more, than Des Bryant has done in the past.
You also have to realize what Des Bryant did off the field as well. He has issues off the field.
That's the thing. Odell doesn't. Have you ever seen him arrested, being caught doing something in a nightclub? No.
Right.
No, not at all. And Des Bryant has been vocal on the sideline too. You've seen him almost start a fight last year, I believe. But nothing gets looked at him because when he's on the field, Des Bryant doesn't jolt back.
Right.
That's what messed up Odell, is because he goes back at his corners. He goes back at everyone else.
Retaliation. There's a big difference. Beast to the East, WRPR 90.3 FM, Ryan Morrick, Scott Thompson, Dean Roventini. We'll analyze the actual game as best as we can, and then we'll get into the wild card game tonight. Mets and Giants, Syndergaard versus Bumgarner. Let's see who's taking it home. But first, quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Ozzy Osbourne. For many years, you know I've had a drink problem, and I'm trying to battle that problem every single day. But one thing I don't drive my car when I'm drinking. I get someone to drive me. Do not drink and drive. It's the stupidest thing. If you drink, just don't drive. Not only are you going to hurt yourself, you may hurt some other person, and you wouldn't want that on your conscience, would you?
A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
I'm a champion, realize Shaq's mechanism.
Hi, Shaquille O'Neal for RAD. This is not your normal PSA. Don't be stupid. Don't drink and drive. If you're gonna go out and have a good time, it's fine. But designate a driver to drive home. Let's stop the madness. Don't drink and drive.
A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Change. New style, down, do you dare? We got a brand new dance.
Beast in the East, WRPR 90.3 FM. So, before we get into Giants football, all of these guys, pretty much everyone in Teak, the entire frat is in here.
That's close. That's accurate.
It's accurate.
Accurate.
All four of them really want to talk about flag football.
Why?
3.5. You're on the team too.
I'm on the team. Yeah, I know.
All three of you on the team.
Yeah,
we're all
on the team. We played a really good game,
but lost.
But we lost.
Well, it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Tons of fun.
What's up?
You gotta tell them how it went down.
How did it go down? Well, you had a great pick, Billy. Billy Gruppenhoff with the great interception on the 1 yard line. What happened? George Honkley with a nice pick.
Dean had 2 TDs.
Dean had 2 TDs.
No big deal.
Whatever.
No.
Shout out, Mom.
No, shout out, Mom. Shout out, God.
Ryan Moore, sick tag grab.
Sick tag grab, sick sack.
Coach, you guys start interviewing us after the games.
I'm not interviewing you after games.
You provide good interviews. I'll be like Odell if you really want.
Oh, no. You're not having fun?
They're targeting.
You're not having fun? What a shame. What a shame. Let's get into Giants football once again. They lost the game. What was the final score? 24-10?
Yes.
24-10. And I want to start with that fourth quarter, that last 2-minute drive. Why in the world is Bobby Rainey being force-fed? He is what, the fourth running back on this team? You have Jennings, Vereen, Darkwa, Rainey, Perkins. Bobby Rainey's your fourth string running back. He was being force-fed for 5 yards when you needed a touchdown.
Can I tell you why? Eli completely scared when any ounce of pressure comes near him. And
see, he's not usually like that.
That's a good D-line.
It's a very good D-line. But against the Redskins, you saw the same thing. The with the pick to end the game, pressure coming in from the middle, and he just lost all of his wide receivers on the outside, and he was focused solely on Shane Vereen. You can't do that. How many balls Monday did he just throw to the turf because too much pressure was there and he didn't want to deal with anything?
Yeah, this does not seem. I don't really think the big story is Bobby Rainey. The big story is Eli, because he doesn't seem like Eli. He's playing a lot safer. That's why you don't see balls.
That's why he has like 70% completion this
Yeah,
season
because
so
he
far.
goes to open guys one-on-one with.
Which is why the West Coast offense has been great for him. He's putting up
Yeah.
his best numbers statistically.
So with that being said, it's not the usual Eli who's like, whatever, chuck it up. And that's why Odell's not getting a lot of targets, because he gets doubled a lot, and he's not going to make that throw there. He'd rather throw it to a Shepard one-on-one, a Cruz one-on-one, or a Bobby Rainey.
But he doesn't throw to Cruz one-on-one. He doesn't throw to Shepard one-on-one. He's too focused. I don't know what the play calling is, but a lot of screens, a lot of dump-offs. It bothers me because you have 3 stud wide receivers on the outside. You should be focusing on them, because not only can they catch the ball, but they're playmakers. They get yards after catch. So I just don't understand if it's Eli, if it's McAdoo making the play calls, running the ball when you have a 3rd and 4th string running back in there. He threw for a season high 45 times, but he had 25 completions. And 10 of those were balls just thrown to the turf. How can you waste a down like that and just go back and go, yeah, I'm good?
What's weird is that that's not usually how Eli plays. We've seen Eli take hits.
Yeah.
Eli is not afraid to stay in that pocket and take a hit.
But I'm not the only one saying this, right? Like, I'm not the only one that notices the minute he feels pressure, it's just...
it's that's what I'm saying. It's not the Eli.
No,
it's a very different
everyone
Eli.
saw that on Monday. But again, why is he doing that? He's never done that.
It could be his age. Maybe he's thinking about what happened to his brother. Maybe he runs genetically. Who knows? Who knows what is going on in Eli's head? But like you said, he's not playing like he did last year when he was putting up monster numbers. I don't care what your completion percentage says.
It's a little skewed at this point, because his average pass is what? Probably 7-8 yards?
Not even. I mean, he's throwing to his running backs. You can't be doing that when you have 3 stud wide receivers on the outside. Plain and simple. Well, this what I'm talking about. I mean, Sterling Shepard gets targeted a few times, and then you have Bobby Rainey making 7 catches or 8 catches in that game. It's tough to look at, because you figured that the offense was the thing that you didn't need to worry about. Now, both sides.
I said it week 1 and 2. Mainly week 1. First game, I liked their play call. I thought it was good play calling. So I don't really think they're losing these games because of their offense. It's because they have a depleted defense. That's the thing. But like going back to Eli, it just doesn't seem like the normal Eli.
No.
It's strange.
Even when he put up 27 points against the Redskins, it just didn't seem like him.
Oh, yeah.
You thought that fourth quarter comeback, with the way that the Redskins D was completely exhausted. You could see it. But he's got tunnel vision. I feel like he's constantly looking for tight ends and for his running backs, because they're right there.
Now, I wonder, is that on Eli or is that on McAdoo?
It's not on McAdoo. Your running backs and tight ends, essentially, in most play calls, not all of them obviously, are going to be your other options. You're going to obviously look for your wide receivers, but just the amount of times that he's going toward his tight ends and his running backs, who have done a good job. Don't get me wrong. They get open, they do their job. But you need to get the ball to your playmakers that can break out for those big plays. It just hasn't happened.
You have to wonder why they're not taking shots. Because, again, what's funny is that we say all of this, but heading into week 4, that trio had the most yards combined of any trio. Odell, Shepard, and Cruz. So we're saying that, and it looks like, I feel like we're talking about this, and we aren't neglecting the fact that Minnesota's a really good defense, but I feel like all three of us know how good the Vikings are, but I feel like we're being hard on the Giants' offense because of that. Like, again, the Giants did put up 27 against the Redskins. They also put up 16 against the Saints and 20 against Dallas, both of who have somewhat, well, definitely under par defenses. But, again, the Vikings have a really good defense. So, is it the offense or was it just the team that they were playing against? I think Monday was a little bit of both. We saw Odell get double covered a lot. And we saw how quickly that D-line got to Eli. Because, again, Eli is not afraid to take a hit. And the fact that he had to throw the ball on the turf a lot, that says something about either A, how good the defense is, or B, how scared is Eli. And I feel like that's a big question, and I feel like we'll find that out, especially against Green Bay, who has never had a good defense.
No, and especially now that Sam Shields is out, their secondary is depleted, and they have been thrown all over. So this is going to be a big test for Eli Manning to see what he really does, and also what Coach McAdoo wants to do. You had him throw 45 times. I would honestly see that same thing happen.
And that's not like Ben McAdoo at all.
No, and I would see that happen against Green Bay because of their secondary. But if you're not getting the ball to the outsides, if you are not getting the ball to Cruz, to Shepard, to Odell, something's up. Something's wrong with, I don't know if it's Eli thinking that he can't get the ball there, but even against the Redskins, Ryan, you're talking about the Minnesota's D-line. They're godly. To start off the season, they are the best D-line in this league. Makes sense that he was throwing the ball to the turf and throwing off his back foot. But against the Washington Redskins, doing somewhat of the same thing, throwing the ball to the turf, just throwing it away just because it wasn't the essential play to start off. You can't do that. You can't waste downs in this league. And you used to be able to do that, obviously, when Odell wasn't being doubled. And you know, situations like that, it's mind-boggling to watch someone just waste plays like that.
And I think this week is a big game in the sense of to really, because they're last right now in this division, to where we look at it and I think they're the best team in this division. You know, on paper,
should be tied for second. Should be.
Yeah, well, yeah, 'cause I don't know what the Phillies doing. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're doing it, and
they're good. Don't get anything. Sorry to cut you off. The Phillies very good, but we could talk about that some other time.
Well, it's just like you never thought of it, though. You know what I mean? But this is gonna be a shootout game, especially if you don't get those guys back from on the defensive side for the Giants.
That's gonna be a big part.
And I don't know who can shoot out Aaron Rodgers. Not this Eli.
No, definitely not this Eli. Not the Eli that's been scared to take a hit. Yeah. The Eli that we know for the last 12 years, the one who is going to lead this team to victories, or the one who's not afraid to take a hit, the one who's not afraid to get a helmet full of turf or grass in Lambeau's case, that's the Eli that has to show up. And I hate ripping on Eli because I will say he does make dumb decisions sometimes. But at the end of the day, the guy's going to be a Hall of Famer. The guy gave you 2 Super Bowls.
Obviously. But if we want to talk right now, if we want to talk about Eli Manning right now, this game is going to be pivotal in what we see. The D-line isn't that good for the Packers. I keep on saying Pats today. It's like the 3rd time I've said it today. But the secondary is just one that Eli has been known to just torch. I mean, he's had very good memories in Lambeau, and with secondaries that are depleted, he's usually been able to just dissect them almost like his brother did. So it'll be telling what he does in week 5, and you know, you should be seeing the ball going to these wideouts because, you know, Bobby Rainey shouldn't be getting 7 catches a game. Plain and simple.
I still don't get that. I still don't get why you don't go to your number 1 guy, let alone
your 2 or 3,
let alone your 7th or 8th.
Yeah.
He's the 4th running back on the depth chart.
And now he's basically the first. I don't understand what happened because Bobby Rainey wasn't even supposed to make this team.
Yeah.
Not at all. I mean, coming over from the Bucs, obviously, because Doug Martin had a year and a half last year. But he wasn't even supposed to be here. And You saw what Paul Perkins can do when he had 2 catches for 72 yards, which led the team
And one of them
on
was
Monday.
64 yards, almost a touchdown.
But the only reason we were saying last night, the only reason he doesn't play as much is because his blocking. But he was drafted as an all-around running back where he could block, run, and catch. But, we keep talking about mindsets of different people. Is it the mindset of McAdoo? Odell's mindset? What is Eli thinking now? Maybe he's thinking about his age and what his arm might be doing, and who knows? But like you said, I think to start off, you got to take a shot. We haven't seen Eli take a shot, and he did it all the time these past 2 years. Not even give it to Odell. We get he's double covered.
Yeah.
Shepard has an over 40-inch vert. He's basically a mini Odell, and he's an inch taller.
I was just thinking that before. Like I feel like the past couple of weeks, we all have said, you know what? Start the game, throw a bomb. Redskins game, we said that, just throw a bomb. But yeah, they haven't done it, and it's just like, why? Like, I don't get why you don't.
Why not?
I don't know.
It's
very strange.
It's telling because, like we said, those bombs, usually Eli will get a little touch. Maybe he'll get hit when he throws those bombs because you got to step into the pocket. But the minute he feels that pressure on one side, he just gives the ball off. Will Tye, Larry Donnell.
He loves his tight ends.
Makes sense. He always has though.
Yeah.
It does make sense. But I'm saying when you're dropping that ball off to your running backs, or you're just throwing it back to the line of scrimmage, that's just the waste.
Yeah. 201-825-1234 is the number. 201-825 excuse me, 1234. Now, what was it? I just lost my track of thought for a second, and I'm really upset about it.
Giants?
Yeah, something about the Giants and something about Eli, and I really can't remember, and it's really bothering me.
Packers?
No.
Like with the I don't know.
It had to do with Monday night's game. Probably just something along the lines of not. This is what I wanted to say. Odell, Cruz, and Shepard are all 6 feet and under.
Yes.
Cruz is 6 foot. Shepard's 5'11". Odell is 5'10". So, I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Cruz was never really much of a deep ball threat. He was usually the catch along the.
Shouldn't have anything to do with it though. Look at the size of cornerbacks. What's the average height?
It's true.
Same height. Odell obviously has shown it. Go look at Sterling Shepard's Oklahoma stats with Baker Mayfield last year. Go look at his highlights. He does a lot of deep balls, a lot of jump balls one-on-one. Haven't seen that from him yet. And I think that's something that needs to be utilized.
Saw that in week
one. We saw a lob.
Yeah, exactly. We saw a lob that he pulled over.
That's why it's weird.
That's my fault then, guys.
No, we know.
That's me. That's me.
You have to wonder why the game plan changed so much.
I don't know what it was.
Just entering Monday, that trio led every receiving trio in yards. Now we're saying that they don't give them the ball enough. That means that something changed with the game plan.
Well, like we said before, Monday you go against probably the top defense in the league, so you can't really. You got to give credit to the Vikings for doing such a great job, but even the Redskin game too was weird too.
But don't you want to force feed? At that point, especially.
But that's what
you want to force feed the right guy.
See, that's what I'm saying about Eli is he's not doing that. He's not taking that risk. He'd rather just dump off to.
Which I just think is very weird.
It's awful. To me, it's awful. You want to go back to that Redskins game when he forced that ball to Larry Donnell.
Mm-hmm.
When Beckham Jr. and Shepard were open on the right side. Like I said, his mind is tunneled. He's not looking to the outsides.
He's playing like a rookie quarterback.
You think so?
Like in the sense of like he's not taking those chances. Like rookie quarterback. Like if you see Dak Prescott, he's not taking a lot of chances. He hasn't thrown a pick yet.
He's going to Cole Beasley. He's going to. But
yeah,
you want to look at the other side. You want to look at Carson Wentz. He's throwing bombs. He's throwing deep balls. He's getting out there. Plain and simple, this just isn't the Eli that we are used to seeing. So you can't just blame it on one person. You can't blame it on Odell for being a distraction. You can't blame it on the defense not being able to get pressure. It's coming from many different sources.
Yeah.
Eli Manning this year so far, almost 1,200 yards, so he's averaging just under 300 a game, 7.8 yards per attempt, 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
That sounds like Alex Smith numbers.
Alex Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
You said 7 yards in attempt.
7.8 yards an attempt.
That's Alex Smith numbers.
And Odell Beckham Jr., 22 catches, 303 yards. Sterling Shepard, 20 catches, 263. Cruz, 16 for 245. So Victor Cruz averages the most yards per catch with 15.3.
Can you show me Bobby Rainey or Shane Vereen? Or?
Bobby Rainey, 8 catches, 67 yards.
That was one game.
And 4 of them came on one drive. But remember, Bobby Rainey barely played weeks 1, 2, and 3.
He didn't play.
He didn't play, exactly.
But look at week 3. Who did they go to on a third down wheel route?
Yeah.
On a jump ball to the end zone. This is my thing.
You're right.
That's play calling too.
That was weird. Yeah.
But
that doesn't make sense.
You should be running your plays around these wide receivers. I don't get it.
Oh man.
And believe it or not, Giants are 4th in passing yards. Eli's averaging 288 yards a game.
Because of the amount of attempts he's getting.
Exactly.
And his running backs are sort of breaking out for plays sometimes.
Giants fall to 2-0. They are in last place in the NFC East. It's the Eagles, then the Cowboys, then the Redskins have the tiebreaker over the Giants. Both of them are 2-2. Cowboys 3-1. Eagles, one of the 3 remaining 4-0 teams. Wild card back up tonight. Noah Syndergaard, Madison Bumgarner on the hill. Who is going to take it home? We'll talk about it.
Ramapo Radio, WRPR Mawa.
Are you sick of DJs who get paid to get songs played off a set list that exists in the money-filled fists of the fat cat? That's old hat. You don't need that. Let's bring back the good tracks with the real cats who you knew you and blew you away with the way they could say what they wanted to say every day. Let's bring back the good old days when cruising with the tunes in the afternoons was in, and human beings were human beings who loved the simple things, not being rough, tough, or rich enough to buy all that stuff. When people drove with their windows open and listened to music and had good times rolling, and they loved singing with the radio. Singing with the radio. Let's bring that back. Ramapo 90.3 on the FM dial. While streaming online, you'll find WRPR is by the people for the people. And let's bring back singing with the radio.
.45 p.m. here in Mawa. Dun dun. I feel like if you want to get pumped up, this is low-key a song that you can listen to. Very low-key.
I would listen to it.
Oh, man.
I would.
I can't hear
What's it called?
It's called.
I've heard it. I just don't know what it's called.
It's called Intro by the XX.
By the XX?
The XX. It's in Project X. It's in a couple other movies.
I think Noah Syndergaard's going to listen to that tonight.
Noah Syndergaard. Let me tell you something about Noah Syndergaard. He's going to be on 25 Adderall pills. How much did we make fun of him?
Oh, that's just not illegal.
No, I was like, what? No, it's not. No, but I might get sued for libel for saying that. But remember how locked in he was?
Yes. Yeah. He's got a different mindset, and it shows on the outside, not just the inside.
Real quick before we take this phone call, Eagles are actually 3-0, not 4-0. They had a bye this week. But before we go to the wild card game, back to the phone lines. Who is this, and where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Joe V. I'm right on campus. Bumgarner's going to...
He really wanted to talk about it.
Joe, you really wanted to talk about Bumgarner, didn't you?
No, Bumgarner is 4-0 against the Mets with a .6 ERA. 0.6.
0.6 ERA, but what happened
in the playoffs?
Joe, what happened in his last start against him? 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 3 walks.
What was that? Sorry.
Exactly. No. Last time Bumgarner faced the Mets, 5 innings is all he went. 6 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks.
It doesn't matter. You put Bumgarner. You bet all in on Bumgarner. 7-0 in the postseason.
Exactly.
He rode the Giants to the World Series 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago. I don't care anymore.
That's the thing with him, though. He's a postseason wizard. He changes his mindset somehow when the postseason comes around. Joe, you're exactly right. But like I said, I don't care what he does in the postseason. The Mets still had his number last time around.
That was just one start, okay? One bad start. He's
one bad start at home. Now he's away.
What, Joe? At this point, one bad start gets you knocked out of the postseason.
At this point, yeah, there is no game 2. It's the wild card. You're right.
Yes, but Joe, this happened in San Francisco. Now he's away. Now he's at Citi Field with a sold-out crowd screaming and yelling at him. What's going to happen now?
And what did he do when he came in relief against the Royals at the Royals stadium? He fucking shut them out.
Because he was clearly the better team. They were clearly the better team then, and the Royals, don't get me wrong, their lineup was all right then. They weren't that good. Again, 2 years ago. Look what the Mets did to them this year. Look what the Mets did to them this year.
Who is the Mets hitting? What Mets do they have? Jay Bruce ain't that good. Cespedes is their only good hitter.
Reyes, Cabrera, Cespedes, all batting over 300 against the Giants this year.
Joe, can I say something now? Why are the Giants the worst team in the league since the All-Star break?
Okay, maybe just we're not doing as well.
So you can't use one argument against one team and then forget about it with the other. The Giants are the worst team since the All-Star break.
Hunter Pence will lead them.
Hunter Pence.
That's
Hunter Pence will lead them.
That's not the guy I want leading my team.
Yeah, not at all.
But Joe, you're not understanding the fact that one team struggled, sure. Bumgarner struggled, but Bumgarner struggles one game. It doesn't matter. The Giants struggled the entire second half. It doesn't matter. Why is that?
Doesn't matter because they still made the postseason.
Okay, so did the Mets. What's your point?
Yeah, the Mets got lucky.
Why did the Mets get? How did the Mets get lucky? Didn't they win games? If anything, the Giants got lucky because they were the worst team in the league. They were the worst team in the league in the second half. They didn't get lucky. They didn't get lucky that the Cardinals lost.
Bro.
That to me sounds like luck to me, Joe. Especially when the Mets kept on winning when they were 5.5 games out.
That game on purpose.
They blew it on purpose.
The Giants can make the playoffs.
Oh come on, Joe. Oh no, this is my thing.
The Mets went 27-30 in their final 40 games. That's luck. If that's luck, then they better buy a lottery ticket.
This is my thing, Joe. Do you really think that Madison Bumgarner tonight at Citi Field has the advantage?
Yes.
What reason? Give me one reason.
Outside of the fact that he's a postseason god, outside of that fact, what is the advantage?
Dude, the stats don't lie, and he is the 8th pitcher.
Yes, and right now so is Noah Syndergaard. You want to talk about stats?
Yes, they are very comparable.
No. Let's absolutely talk about stats right now. 14-9 with a 2.690 ERA, I believe. Noah Syndergaard has this season. Madison Bumgarner has a 15-9 record with a 2.74 ERA. Their whips are basically the same. Their hits are basically the same. Walks are basically the same. And Syndergaard has more Ks than him. So you're going to tell me that Syndergaard on his home mound doesn't have the advantage?
Yeah.
All right.
Here we go.
That's cool.
Noah Syndergaard, 2.6 ERA. Bumgarner, 2.74. Whip, Bumgarner, 1.02. Syndergaard, 1.15. Strikeouts, Bumgarner has the edge also. But again, Joe,
that's the one Walker hit in inning.
These stats are very similar. They are. And Bumgarner might have almost 40 more strikeouts. He also pitched in 40 more innings. There's no argument for it. Joe, thank you for the phone call. You can't be so one-sided about this. But all right, let's get into this game. Now it's finally time to analyze it. Noah Syndergaard and Madison Bumgarner on the mound. I truly don't think there is no advantage. I don't.
Between
Bumgarner and Syndergaard.
The only advantage is that Syndergaard has the home field. That's it.
And then you can argue the fact that Bumgarner is a postseason god, but how long does that last for? I hate to just say he performs in the postseason. He's obviously going to get it done.
He is a workhorse, though.
He is a workhorse, absolutely, but
he's not going to give up that ball easy, and he knows that there is no game 2. There's one game.
But Syndergaard knows that.
Yeah, there is a difference.
And I understand there are just people who get it done.
And Bumgarner is one of them.
Right, but I still have a hard time believing
I'm not saying
that, though.
I'm not saying it's like Noah Syndergaard doesn't have a chance. Obviously he has a chance. Noah Syndergaard is very good. But what it seems like is saying Bumgarner had that bad outing last time against the Mets. Bumgarner's not that type of guy who, like, he's the type of guy who, if he has a bad start, it's not going to happen. Like, it's not often that it's going to happen twice in a row.
Right. I want to point Bumgarner, 2014 regular season, ERA 14th, WHIP top 15-ish. Strikeouts, he was still up there in strikeouts. What just randomly makes a guy turn it on?
That's like a mental thing. The atmosphere can get you hyped, set your mental straight on just to win. He is a passionate guy. He loves to win. I mean, he's the right guy to get the ball for this team. But so is Syndergaard. This is gonna be a good matchup. I'm not really like. I mean, I would like to see the Mets do it because from where their expectations were.
I would love to.
See the Mets do it. Obviously, because they're a New York team, but I don't count out either team though.
No, you talk about the clutch gene. Who has that clutch gene to be able to settle down through those high pressure situations and perform. Obviously, Bumgarner has done that in his postseason career. But Syndergaard did as well last year.
I just wonder why. What makes a guy above average in the regular season, and then all of a sudden he's a Hall of Famer because of one postseason?
People crack. People crack in the postseason. Plain and simple. When there are do or die games or decisive games, some people just crack. Bumgarner is one of them.
You can think of it as like this: when you're playing a 162 game season. Sorry, you can't really go out there and act like every single time you're out there is Game 7 World Series. And just in that sense. So sometimes when you have some starts where it's like, you know what, I have to work on my curveball a little bit. I'm going to try to place that. Stuff like that. I can go on and on just about examples. But now it's
regular season. You can take risks.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's go time.
Plus you're going with emotions.
I'm going out. Yeah, and there's a lot of emotions. You get hyped.
Right.
And especially, I don't care if you're home or away. The noise doesn't change. It's going to be loud. You might hear boos when you're pitching, but that's still noise, and noise can get you hyped.
No, this is going to be a very fun game to watch because these are two dead even teams. No one really jumps out off the lineup. Obviously, on the pitcher's mound, that's a different story. But it's who can strike first, and whoever does that, I think, wins this ballgame.
It still amazes me how the Mets are here, but I'm loving it though. Still, it's really like Chris Granderson, your 4-hitter. You traded for Jay Bruce, which was ridiculous.
No, it's funny to think about. It's actually great to think about. And Ryan, you were talking about how you might have to think about Terry Collins as manager of the year because of how he's done with his lineup basically being half gone, including his pitchers.
Yeah, but
I know.
Joe Madden.
Joe Madden obviously wins 140 games with the Cubs. Yeah, he's going to get it, but. I would love to see what happens tonight. No. I think that, I was talking about striking first. It's going to come with those 1, 2, 3 hitters. The lineups already came out. It goes Reyes, Cabrera, Cespedes. That's going to be a big deal.
Here are the lineups. Here's the lineup for the San Francisco Giants. Leading off, playing center field, Denard Span. Brandon Belt batting second, playing first. Buster Posey behind the plate at third. Hunter Pence cleaning up, playing right. Brandon Crawford playing short, batting fifth. Angel Pagan playing left, batting sixth. Joe Panik playing second, batting seventh. Gillespie, what's his first name? Gillespie?
That was Connor.
Maybe that might be right. He's batting eighth and playing third. Bumgarner batting ninth. And pitching for the Mets, Jose Reyes leading off. He's playing short. Asdrubal Cabrera. No, Reyes is playing third, Asdrubal Cabrera playing short, batting second. Yoenis Cespedes playing left field. Good at third base. Curtis Granderson playing center field, batting cleanup. TJ Rivera batting fifth and playing second. Jay Bruce batting sixth, playing right. Rene Rivera batting seventh and behind the plate. So is Darnell hurt?
Not sure. I don't think so. But again, when you talk about a do or die situation, you really want Darnell behind the plate.
I don't like him. I never liked him.
Giants are speedy, and they will take off because Syndergaard can't hold people on.
Yeah,
remember last year?
Power pitchers can't.
What they got to do? They got to trade for a catcher. They'll be a contender.
That's why they wanted. They should have gotten Lucroy.
I know.
They should have traded everything for Lucroy.
James Loney batting eighth and playing first base, and Noah Syndergaard batting ninth and pitching. by the name. I think by
Mets
the
have names.
What's that?
What were you saying? By the names?
I'm saying like which lineup is better by the name.
Well, by the name, like the Mets have bigger names. I feel.
But also, if you want to really look at it from, a fundamental standpoint, I think that the Giants might have a better lineup, considering that everyone, I feel like, on that team does their job.
They're a team.
Joe Paddock and Brandon Crawford are both Gold Glove infielders,
and they can hit. They can both hit home runs.
Brandon Crawford had 25 home runs last year.
You just said T.J. Rivera. Why am I getting names mixed up?
TJ's playing second, Renee is catcher.
And their both last name is Rivera, right? I didn't hear Rivera twice. Yeah, okay. Yeah. No, you don't really know what you're going to get out of these rookies. So let's see what they can do in a do-or-die situation. But this is what I'm saying for the Mets. A big key for the Mets will be Reyes, Cabrera, and Cespedes. They're going to have to produce. Because, as I said when we were talking to Joe, all three of them are batting above Reyes and Cabrera are batting above 300 against San Francisco this year. And since coming off the DL, Cabrera's been the hottest hitter, batting 343. So I don't know what his right-handed statistics are, because he's usually from the left-hand side. But they're going to be a big part in today.
That's a big thing, too. You look at your leadoff guy in Reyes, even though it's silly kind of say, but like you would like your leadoff guy to be in that left-handed batter's box. It's just a little bit closer, and you have that lot of momentum. The only thing that scares me about this lineup is the Bruce. Lefty on lefty, and he's not. I mean, I don't know. I never liked it from the beginning when they got him. I never liked it.
But that's the thing. With one swing, he could change a game.
He can.
But
he does have that power, but
do we really trust him to do that?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of lefties, even Loney too.
It's going to be fun. This is going to be...
I think I'm more excited for this game, even though yesterday's game was crazy.
Well, last night's ending... Jeez. Last night's ending was just...
I can't believe Zach Britton did not pitch. I can't believe Zach Britton didn't pitch.
Oh, he was pissed after the game, too.
He was not
so bad. He put a ball to him.
Did they talk to him?
Yeah, they talked to him after the game. But he's like, I gotta respect, as his face was turning red, gotta respect, my managers and what they wanted to do.
Good answer.
Predictions for tonight. I think Giant.
Come on, Mets 3-2 is the final score, and they go on to get swept by the Cubs.
This is nice. Whoever's winning this is gonna get swept by the Cubs. But I don't know, man. I think the Mets still have this magic in them, and I think they can pull it out.
Just look at how many times Syndergaard racks up 3 digits on the
Gods. I'm gonna go Mets.
Bumgarner's gonna get the loss in 8 innings of pitching.
I'm going to go Mets because I feel like the pitching duel is actually going to hurt the Giants. Look what happened yesterday to the Orioles. Being on the road hurt them because they couldn't use Britton. That's going to hurt, believe it or not.
Bumgarner's pitching 10 innings. Never mind. And with 2 RBIs.
Peace of the East, WRPR 90.3 FM. Mets, Giants, first pitch in just over an hour. It's not goodbye. See you later. So long and take care, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.